Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Make sure you smash that like button down below and hit the subscribe button if you are new because we are being censored. This is actual data. We are being shadow banned at the moment. Apparently I find out that we have a negative 93% impression advantage, mainly because we are talking against big tech. We are talking against the establishment and the establishment doesn't like us. And as a result, according to actual data, we are at a negative 93% impression advantage. And Fox News, big media, even right-wing media, oh no, they're at an 112% positive impression advantage. Clearly, YouTube is bragging about this in the past, about censoring channels like ours. However, big tech and big media, no, they get promoted. And that kind of ties into what we're talking about today, but make sure you like this video and subscribe with the bell on so you don't miss any future videos. And so we stay updated, we stay in the algorithm so we can break that shadow ban, because I believe if we stick together, we can beat it and we can break that shadow ban. But that's beside the point. I will say this. There's a saying that goes, as Texas goes, the country goes. As Florida goes, the country goes. And what is Texas doing? Texas finally grew some stones, repealed their mask mandate. They're opening up to 100% capacity. In many instances, you talk about small businesses, you talk about them, they're going to be able to open to full capacity. They are back to normal. While the rest of the country, like Michigan and New York and California, they are stuck in a prison for a disease that I've said before. If you are under the age of 65 or weigh less than Stacey Abrams, you're probably going to be fine. I've said this multiple times. It's true. It's a very true statement because we've talked about this. The average age of people dying from this virus is higher than the average life expectancy in this country. It's 82. And case rates in this country have been going down. And they've been going down for quite some time now. In fact, they've been going down. Everyone said it was just because of the holidays. That's when case rates were going to start decreasing. But even though we're in February, March even, the case rates are still on a sharp decline since then, despite the fact that a lot of states are opening up and states like Texas and Mississippi are now rescinding their mask mandates. Very interesting to see how that works out. And the left went crazy. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I hate to keep giving her airtime, obviously, because she's so obnoxious. She's an emotional child and everybody knows it. But she was out there and she was whining and crying about this, calling it careless. And it's just, I thought to myself, nobody's preventing anybody from wearing a mask. I assume a lot of Democrats especially, and even some Republicans who will do it out of courtesy, because that's what the right likes to do in this country. They like to cede as much ground to the left as possible. They will continue to wear masks, and they will be fine with that. So that's what a mandate does. When you take the mandate away, you can still wear a mask, and the businesses can still impose, I believe, mandates if they decide to. Private businesses, if they want to decide to impose a mask mandate on their business, on their establishment, they still can do it. And it goes back to the private businesses. That's exactly what happens. People need to chill out because we've seen a lot of hysteria about this virus. We've seen a lot of hysteria about masks. However, when you talk about it, you get censored, you get shadow banned because it's true. And they wouldn't be censoring it if it wasn't true. You talk about this virus, what we are seeing with this virus is the largest wealth transfer. Billionaires are getting richer and small businesses are closing down and individuals are getting poorer. And the Biden administration is so incompetent to the point where it is March, there's not going to be $2,000 checks. The eligibility requirements for the 1,400 checks have also been cut. It's a massive disaster. And you look at who's benefiting from this, it's the 1%, it's the big tech giants, it's big business. Small business, no, they're shut down. And I've talked about this at length before, and it's very true. And when it comes to masks, we could talk about this. The science is arguably unsettled behind it. We have seen studies that have been pro-mask over the past year and seemingly only over the past year. We've seen studies before last year that claim the exact opposite. And we've also seen a study from a Danish firm, a very comprehensive study that concluded the fact that masks may not be effective as people think. And it makes sense because you talk about masks, they're not meant to prevent you from getting the virus. In fact, on many boxes of masks, it specifically says that they're supposed to prevent you from giving the virus to other people. It's a cope shield is what I call it. They're cope shields. It's coping. Democrats always say, you like to do a little bit of coping. No, they're the ones that do a little bit of coping. It's called they do a little bit of coping. They wear the cope shield because that's exactly what it is. They're coping with something that largely is not going to affect them, that largely is not going to kill them. And if you disagree with it, they'll demonetize you, they'll censor you, they'll try to ruin your life. It's funny, these people are frauds. They claim to be against big business. Yet these are the same people that are out there that are essentially shilling for the establishment, shilling for big business. And big business is paying for the hysteria, they're paying for the public support polls. It's the same part of the fortification of the 2020 election that handed the election to Joe Biden. And then we have the Time article that's going to go out there and brag about it. It is sickening and it should upset you. If you have a backbone, if you have any ounce of reason in your mind, it should concern you. And that is the way it is. And you talk about the science. What did Dr. Fauci have to say? In early March last year, when the hysteria was taking place, a lot of the media was sweeping the virus under the rug, except for Tucker Carlson, of course. He was talking about it back in November of 2019. They called him a conspiracy theorist for it, but that's just the way it is, and I'm not really surprised by that. But what did Dr. Fauci have to say earlier this year? Take a listen.
People should not be walking around with masks. You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
So why exactly did he have to go out there and change his tune? That's the real question. Because they're all a part of the same elite that bragged about fortifying the 2020 election to keep Donald Trump out of office. I'm not talking about shenanigans at the ballot box. What I'm talking about specifically is the fact that they banded together to get certain states to change their election laws without the consent, in many cases, of the state legislature, in order to change and affect the outcome of the 2020 election. And then they used big money to prop up a bunch of low propensity voters who didn't really want to vote in the first place, used COVID to scare them into voting. And in tomorrow's video, I'm going to be doing an alt history. I'm going to be talking about what the 2020 election would have looked like if COVID never happened. Of course, they're going to say it's a cope. They're going to say you do a little bit of coping. Yeah, it's called we do a little bit of coping, but it's true. And it's been a very highly requested video for me to do. And it is going to be interesting to look into. But looking at what Texas is doing, Greg Abbott, he's still a neocon. He's still a part of the establishment. I mean, the guy can't even walk. But I will say this, he is doing the right thing, and he does deserve credit where it's due. However, this should never have happened to begin with. It should have been done a long time ago, especially talking about the masks. And we talk about the masks and the effectiveness. Saliva. Studies have proven that masks don't really work well in the rain. Studies have also proven that saliva can ruin the effectiveness of masks. When you're talking for, 10, 20 minutes even, the mask necessarily becomes ineffective. A lot of these Democrats, the people that are speaking the loudest about hysteria, their masks have been all over the place. They haven't been washed. They're using the same mask. It's got COVID crawling all over it. These are the same people that want to lecture you and your family on how to live. Give me a break. These people have no idea what they're talking about. And they want to talk about lives. Let's talk about lives, okay? Let's talk about suicides. 20 children, not old people that are dying of 10 other diseases that get COVID and die. Students in schools. Clark County schools, 18 students have committed suicide. These are kids because people won't do the right thing. They won't open up schools. Kids are failing in schools because of the virus, because of the lockdowns. They're dumbing down an entire generation. This needs to stop now. We've had enough of this. And the teachers' unions are bargaining because they want to work from home, because these teachers are selfish by and large, and the teachers' unions are corrupt. They're asking for all of this other technology that they don't even need to begin with. And it's disgusting, and it needs to stop, because you talk about lives. Lives are at risk. Livelihoods are at risk. Lives of, 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds. You want to talk about the old people? A lot of them are dying. 40% of them are dying in nursing homes. A lot of those people were sent into those nursing homes by disgraced New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, but nobody wants to talk about it. Oh, but Kristi Noem, Ron DeSantis, oh no, sweep them under the rug, throw them under the bus for a disease that has a lower mortality rate for the flu for most age groups under the age of 55. Absolutely disgusting, and I think we've had enough of it. I think we've had enough. And I'm so sick and tired of these easy wins that we get, these little wins that conservatives get. The fact that Greg Abbott is deciding to lift a mask mandate after how long? It's been over a year. It was supposed to be 15 days to slow the spread, and now what day are we on? 359 or something like that? Somewhere around that, I don't really know. I didn't keep track of the dates. It's called, we do a little bit of forgetting here and there. But in terms of the virus, we need to go back to normal. And one last thing, what did Joe Biden have to say about all this?
And the last thing we need is Neanderthal thinking.
Neanderthal thinking. That's quite ironic coming from Joe. He's the last person that I want to hear the words Neanderthal thinking come out of his mouth, given every single thing that he said over the past year that's made absolutely zero sense.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Exactly, Joe. Exactly. But that's the way it is. So good thing for Texas. Texas is free. Hopefully more states follow. You looked at the lawsuit that Texas filed and more states followed. Hopefully more states do the same thing for this measure. But in the meantime, I'm sick that this is the only win we can get after a year of being fooled by the system, because it's a benefit for them and it's not for you. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, especially Alt Tech. The links are in the description below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.